cult of Hasanabi. Fuck it, I'm skipping this one too. All right, details in Idaho.
We're going to begin with those murders in Idaho. The new details about the man accused of killing 4 students at the University of Idaho. Suspect Brian Kohberger appeared in an Idaho courtroom for the very first time yesterday. And in newly unsealed court documents, police say they identified him, getting into the details, also getting into how they linked him to the crime scene. Also, a chilling affidavit alleges that one of the surviving roommates saw a masked man she did not know walk past her bedroom door the morning of the murders. Omar Villafranca has more now from Moscow, Idaho, but a warning here in a quadruple murder story. Some of these details are disturbing.
Murder suspect Brian Kohberger smiled at his public defender as he faced a judge in Idaho for the first time Thursday.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
I mean, yes. Yeah, it's fucking Idaho.
He's
they don't fuck
with
around.
Stabbing Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin to death in the early morning hours of November 13th. According to a newly unsealed 18-page affidavit, investigators discovered DNA on a knife sheath similar to this one found on the bed next to Madison Mogan.
Yeah.
They linked that DNA.
He just left him there and he walked out. Oh, you don't know the details
he just
then.
Left them on the campus.
So basically, this is like, as far as we know, from what we understand, like this is a criminology PhD at.
He's a PhD.
Yeah, he has a criminology PhD. He's conducted Reddit surveys on like the psychological profile of like criminals. He's asked criminals like why you did the crime. You know, did you think about the victims? That sort of stuff, and he is. Yeah, he circled the night of the murder. He circled with his car, turned his phone off, circled the house, like the block of the house, 4 times. Literally went into the house at like around 4 a.m. Not exactly sure on when he. He's a PhD student. What the fuck? What do you guys want? Did I not say that?
You did. He's studying criminology just to do these dumbass crimes, like to get caught like this. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
he'd be a little more.
Yeah,
Dexter.
I mean, he was not as Dexter like as he would think he is. I mean, he turned off his phone. He did some basic stuff.
Just leaving
but
bodies on the
but
campus.
like he used a knife. So like, you know, he left his DNA on scene, and there were people who were awake at the time. So he walks into this. He walks into this house. He stabs 4 people to death, and 2 of them are like, you know, in a room. Stop saying he did it. Allegedly. Okay, allegedly. You're right. Stabs 4 people to death, even though his. So what do you mean? Stop saying he did it, motherfucker. His DNA is on the scene, dog. What the fuck?
Wait, he killed them all at the same time?
Yeah, that is like actually the unique component here, because like he got caught basically by one of the roommates who didn't understand what was going on and thought like maybe one of her roommates was playing with her dog or something. Opens the door again, and he hears him saying like, "Oh, I'll help you. I can help you." And then opens the door again, sees him like randomly with bushy eyebrows and shit, wearing a black mask. And she closes the door, locks it. He's like worried, but it's like they're drunk. It's a fucking party house. They, you know, plenty of random weird sus people walk in and out of houses like that. So she probably might have not thought more about it. We don't know.
So did he know them? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
We don't know, but it
also,
doesn't seem like he
does.
does.
This man has gone through his whole life, PhD, and then he's just walking into a random house and stabbing everyone.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre and disturbing.
So, oh yeah, there's another detail. He was likely stalking or seeing one of the victims at night. His phone pinged around the house 12 times since June. Either way, he was consistently scoping out the place. And you know, he went in. He stabbed 4 people to death. He was caught by one of the other survivors. He just basically walked out, and he literally drove away. You know, linked up with his dad. They did a cross-country tour to Pennsylvania. He got caught in Pennsylvania eventually.
DNA to Kohberger by matching it to his father's DNA found in the trash outside the family home.
Yeah, his matching it to the father's DNA outside of the trash in the family home. This is important. This is one of the new details.
Knife sheath, similar to this one, found on the bed next to Madison Mogen. They linked
He
that
left the
DNA
sheath
to
behind.
Koberger
That's
by
carnage
matching
to
it
kill
to his
4 people
father's
at
DNA
knife point.
found in the
that's
trash.
Yeah,
That's
and
like
then they
brutal.
linked the knife sheath DNA to his dad. So he basically took his dad's knife and killed them. Is what you know the speculation.
So wait,
is.
they found the sheath, they swapped it for DNA. So what? His dad has a record or something? I mean, if he's
23andMe.
his dad did a 22andMe.
Not his dad, but like even if an immediate family member has like, or no, not 23andMe. They looked at his trash, right?
They got his DNA from the trash. And
Yeah, they
analyzed it
took his dad's
and said,
DNA.
this DNA is the parent of whoever.
But I thought it was originally from the ancestry tree, like one of the.
So he did do it pretty slick. Like, I mean, the DNA, the DNA forensic they can do now is like insane. It's so hard to get away with murder these days. Like, I mean, what they did against the Golden State Killer like a few years ago, they fucking figured out
They
who
did
guy
that.
was.
Yeah, they did it through ancestry. Yeah, they linked the sheath to DNA, and then the trash showed DNA of the father or of whoever owned the knife sheath. Yeah.
10 years ago, they would have never caught him.
Yeah.
Or maybe 15. I don't know how recent.
They just said the trash collected the DNA proved that the DNA in the knife was 99.99999% the son of the DNA
I'm
in the
so
trash.
glad. I personally, people think it's like dystopian. I love it, bro. Let's catch.
I think about like
think
the
it's
ethical,
awesome.
the implications on like how easily like I mean I don't know I worry about that because it's like not 100% and you can a lot of people assume that
close.
it's like 100%. I fear that
Genetics. When has anyone ever been mistried over like a genetic egg? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
well a lot of people have actually been declared innocent as a consequence of that. You're right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's just there's something that there's something that I worry about with respect to like you know being able to basically like scour the DNA footprint or like the DNA genealogy of like every single immediate family member. Like that.
I don't. What's so? I get it's like a little dystopian, but what is it you're afraid of happening exactly with that information?
I think that I worry that like the more we use it, the more it's going to be used in like normal circumstances and not like murder. You know what I mean? It starts off with murder profiles and that's fine, but then and everybody like kind of gets used to it, and then it turns into a problem when like you know companies are using it or you know insurance companies are basically using it to like you know drive up your rates and shit like that. Like there will be commercial use for this that I fear. Here, I'll give you a great example.
Give me an example.
Cameras and CCTV footage is like you know made it definitely easier to catch criminals in the act. One of the latest things that happened with face tracking technology and cameras everywhere was that there was a law firm that was suing Madison Square Garden. Have you heard of this story? A law firm is suing Madison Square Garden. I forget what the details are exactly, but one of the fucking parents of a school trip that is going to Madison Square Garden, one of the parents that is a part of that law firm that's not even involved in the case directly, was caught on face trackers entering Madison Square Garden, and they literally stopped her from entering Madison Square Garden. They're like, you know, there's an ongoing active lawsuit, and you are a part of this law firm. You can't fucking come in here with your child.
I have reservations about the face tracking just because it's not always accurate, right? Like that one definitely has that one definitely is not reliable enough to convict people, and I've heard of that shit going sideways and wrong people getting convicted on face tracking. But DNA is as close to 100% as you
No,
can
I
get
mean
in
the face
forensics.
tracker is 100% as well. I'm just
No,
saying
it's
that
not.
like
It's not.
No. The utility of it. Do you understand? The utility doesn't stay. My point wasn't about like 100%. My point was the utility of a certain thing can come across as like smart and good originally, and then I can totally see it being used for commercial reasons by like incredibly powerful corporations in the way that I just described to you.
Yeah.
So I fear that like DNA sampling like this is going to be used as like used to like have access to just like the widespread pretty much like information that is, written in your fucking genes is going to be accessible to like every corporation that wants to pay for it eventually. And that is something that I am fearful of.
I guess it's inevitable.
Anyway.
Regardless, eh?
Yeah. So DNA leads to higher insurance rates for cancer. Predisposition could lead to lower credit scores for people. You know what I mean? Like that's Gattaca. Gattaca.
If insurance companies are crunching the numbers, analyzing your DNA, that's pretty fucked up. But wasn't Gattaca about like designer babies and shit?
Yes, but
I love that movie.
But it also is like about. Well, we're already doing that with gene editing, but it also was like you're predetermined to that one has a coding. That one's actually sweet. You'll like that one. It also was about like what capitalism does and what happens when you mix capitalism with genetic predetermination. Like the assumption that like a society run on like the concept of genetic superiority and like having access to the best kind of gene editing would make you a person who was if you didn't have access to that kind of gene editing, you would be deemed a undesirable person.
That is happening, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The bleeding edge of like IVF technology is they're already kind of figured out how to determine like height, eye color, hair texture, intelligence. So designer baby thing is coming. Yeah. So that's my point. That's what I'm fearful of. Anyway, let's continue.
Crash outside
I guess it's
the
good and
family
bad.
home.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
And the catching the murderers thing is dope, but it's gonna happen. So.
The knife sheath left at the crime scene, which is where they derived the DNA, to me is like a nail in the coffin.
Casey Jordan, a criminologist with no connection to the case, believes the evidence against Kohberger is overwhelming, citing stunning new details in the affidavit from an interview with the surviving roommate. She told investigators she woke up around 4 a.m. and thought she heard Kaylee Gonsalves say, "There's someone here." Later, the roommate said she heard what sounded like crying in Xana Kernodle's room. Then a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." When she opened her bedroom door, she told investigators she saw a man she did not recognize wearing black clothes and a mask. She described him as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. She said she stood frozen as the man walked by her to the back door. She then went in her room and locked the door. The affidavit did not explain why police were not called to the scene until noon, about 8 hours later.
I really do believe that
because like so a lot of people, this is why people were like speculating crazy shit, but I mean it makes sense to me to a certain degree. Like if you're living in like a shared living space with a bunch of other college people and you hear someone crying, you just assume like, oh, there's a fight going on or whatever, right? And you're drunk as fuck regardless, right? You're like drunk as fuck, you pass the fuck out, and then you wake up in the morning and you think, oh my God, someone is like unconscious. One of my roommates is unconscious. That's what they thought originally. Oh, one of my roommates is unconscious. That's why they called 911.
evidence is so strong already, before the investigation is complete, he's going to have an uphill climb to try to be found not guilty.
It's worth noting that investigators laid out several threads tying Kohberger to the crime scene. Now, police say his cell phone pinged in the area of the crimes at least a dozen times before the attacks. Police also say that a white Hyundai was seen speeding away after the attack. He drives a white Hyundai. From there, police say that they were able to track that car's toll tag from Washington State all the way to Pennsylvania. There in Pennsylvania, they got a DNA sample from his parents' trash bin. That DNA sample linked back to the knife sheath found here in Idaho. A lot of police work was going on. He will remain here in the Latah County Jail. He'll be in court next week where he'll enter a plea.
Dude.
Tony?
What a fucking freak.
Wow. I mean, it took some time for police to get that evidence, but there's a lot in this indictment. Omar, thank you very much. In our next hour, 48 Hours correspondent Peter Van Sant will join us with a closer look at the suspect, and also he'll be.
I mean, that we'll give that one to the FBI for sure, because from what I understand, The
morning, new
Moscow
details.
cops were just basically like twiddling their fucking thumbs for the most part. This is a lot of like post hoc dubs given to the law enforcement community across the board in an effort, in my opinion, to propagandize and make it seem like they were doing a lot of good work when it literally was not the police that was doing this. It was the FBI that was doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
I'll take that dub too.
No, I mean, I'll take it. It was also across lines too. It was across like state lines as well. But like, they literally fucking said, cops at the time were basically just going, yeah, we don't know what's going on. That's what they said.
So she passed out for 8 hours. I'm assuming she probably went to sleep or something.
That's what I think too, but we don't
And
know. We don't know
everybody
the
fucking
actual
died
details.
but her.
Well, no. There were other roommates in the house too. That
Oh,
I think
wow.
they didn't even see him at all. They were just like
I'm
sleeping.
surprised you can stab 4 people to death.
That
without
is
people
actually
hearing.
legitimately confusing to me as well.
That
like,
would be
because
loud.
he went into 2 rooms with 2 people, implying that he killed at least 2 people in 2 separate rooms in front of another person.
Right, and if you're being stabbed to death, you're gonna be vocal, right? You're not like immediately dead.
Yeah. And there had to have been so much blood too. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just crazy.
Fuck that guy.
But then again, yes, you are right, frail golem. Ted Bundy did do that with a rock in a house with multiple people. He did it in a sorority house.
Yeah, but Ted Bundy's the best that ever did it. Come on.
Yeah,
He's no
I
Ted
mean,
Bundy.
yeah, he did have a lot of experience. There is another component here, which is friend of the
desperation-
show, Moist Critical Charlie's video, who covered the other part of this, which is like the more toxic side of this.
Shit,
True
people-
crime enthusiasts.
They were accusing the roommate. That's so stupid. What?
Not the roommate, a teacher as well. There was like a TikTok psychic. There's a bunch of different.
They're just blasting people.
They were, but that's what happens all the time. The We Did It Reddit. Remember the Boston bombing? Like the Boston Marathon bomber. Reddit made it seem like Reddit thought that they had found the actual bomber when it was like some random fucking guy. This has been a tale as old as time itself. People get incredibly fascinated, especially when there's not a lot of official information out there. And they want to take matters into their own hands, and they inevitably end up ruining people's fucking lives in this like witch hunt, basically. And TikTok is particularly awful with it because like true crime, fascinating stuff, right? The human condition. How can a human being do such an awful thing? We watch some true crime stuff here as well. Usually, cases that have ended, right? And mostly from the perspective of like interviewers, interrogators, and how like suspects behave in interrogations and things like that. Now, having said that, there's also a scene that takes it one step further, where they are true crime enthusiasts and they behave like the thing that is unfolding in front of them is unfolding as like a movie when it's not. These are real victims. These are real human beings.
What happened?
Well, here, I'll let Charlie explain it while I go pee real
for
quick.
online attention on TikTok is a poison more potent than cyanide, but it doesn't kill you instantly. It's a long, drawn-out, painful, and embarrassing death. And today I want to talk about someone who's got a very severe terminal case of toxic clout goblin. It's a TikTok psychic named Ashley. You might have even heard of her by now because she's made a name for herself in the national headlines.
psychic?
She is a self-proclaimed TikTok clairvoyant who uses her psychic abilities to solve murders. And she recently took on the case of the University of Idaho killer who killed 4 students. The real killer was arrested, however, before Brian Kohberger, the actual killer being accused here, the main suspect, was taken into custody. Ashley made a long series of videos accusing someone else named Rebecca Schofield of being the killer. It was based on nothing other than tarot card readings.
Am I going to sit here silently and watch Critical's video? You guys want to watch Critical? You know where to find him. Dude, I hate psychics, man. They're all such fucking cons, though. That's insane. There's a clairvoyant who's just randomly accusing people. I want to see what she looks like. This is her. Bro, she got to go to jail for that or something. That's got to be a crime, right?
I haven't been sued, so that's
Why is there so many faces on the screen? I've got him and her and Charlie.
why
What's he
some
doing?
demand letters you take serious.
Man, it's
especially
looking
if
a
you
lot
really
like
did
Christmas
do
over
something
there.
wrong. But the ones, oh my God, of discovering things about her,
The physical evidence she had for those claims.
Guys, let's see. Is CoffeeZilla up yet? Yeah, you can't leave me in here.
Oh no! What are you doing?
I showed the prolapse. Sorry, bro.
No, you didn't. Please don't.
I just showed the fucking
No, he's not
prolapse
loaded.
in all its
All right,
glory.
let's go back. Let's go
Prolapse
back.
to prolapse, bro.
Please, he's joking, right?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I made a bomb threat against.
Oh no, he did not. He did not. He's been good.
Guilty.
Are you
She's
bored
just
of this?
going
Is that
through
why
an entirely made-up story of
it's just
fucking
long. It's just a long
nothing.
video to watch.
your ADHD is worse than mine?
15 minutes when you sit here and watch
That's
the
literally
thread?
not that. Yeah, that's not
You're
that
gonna
long.
watch the whole video though for 15
Yeah,
minutes?
usually I do.
But
yeah.
he's already doing the commentary. You know.
Okay,
what I mean?
but I like learning from. It's like no different than watching a news broadcaster.
You're
in my
watching
opinion.
it with. I guess I'm not used to.
Yeah, this is what. Yes, this is what I do. Go back.
What?
Did he skip stuff?
Wait, y'all really want to watch this?
They do, bro. Ethan, I don't want to force you to stay here. By the way, if you're bored.
Am I ruining? the
No,
vibe?
you're not. But like we have.
But I'm saying, well, like, let's talk about something. I'm gonna sit here quiet, silently, and watch Critical talk for 15 minutes.
We're not gonna talk. We're not gonna be silent. I never shut the fuck up. As a matter of
Right,
fact, but it's
that's
usually.
right.
But
But
this
can we
is
talk?
what I
Let's
do.
do it. Let's offer our own commentary. Like, let's react to. Like,
Well, yeah, that's what I want to get like pieces of details from Moist Critical's like video, and then offer my perspective on it. That is my goal.
So are you
Another
commenting-
reason reason why I like going to Moist for stuff like this is because I consider him to be like the Norman Jesus. So he usually is like he's going to arrive at like exactly the center opinion on everything. I don't even mean like Philip DeFranco style. I mean like literally just like most normal people. Like what is their assessment of a situation? So usually I like hearing like what the Norman assessment of a situation is going to be.
So are we reacting to Crit, or are we reacting to
We're-
the TikTok?
We're
or are we doing the
reacting.
whole thing?
We're reacting to.
We're taking it all in.
Okay, we're reacting to everything. That's that's what
Superstar
it is.
is-
Ethan isn't
But
a
you know-
Hasanabi head. He doesn't watch my. He probably watches my YouTube videos that are
I
like
watch your
cut.
highlights. I don't
yeah,
watch
he
the
watches
live.
highlights.
Yeah, I do watch a lot of the highlights, by the way.
Yeah.
too. But let me say this: maybe we could offer our own original commentary
Yes.
on the Aiden Ross, Andrew Tate stuff.
Okay. You know what? Let's. Okay. Well, I also make YouTube videos out of this, which is why I'm like
Oh,
trying to
you-
keep it
Got
like.
it, got
I'm
it,
trying to
got
keep it
okay, so
condensed
cut
on
all
the.
this.
I'm trying. That's my goal is
I
to
see.
keep it
There-
as
I see,
condensed
I
as
see, I
possible to one
Got it,
story for
got it.
now.
That makes sense.
So that I can, so that I can cut a YouTube video out of it,
Right.
and then eventually,
This morning, new details also.
oops. And then that's how we do it.
Smart.
The desperation
Yeah.
and even
But you're
convinced
gonna upload
some
a video
brain.
of you watching Crit talk about it?
No, if I okay, so here's how this works. Okay? If my editors choose to cut a segment like this, they will pick portions of my coverage of the story, portions of the news coverage of the story, and then my commentary on top of like what a part that like Moist Critical has actually brought up that I was unfamiliar with, because this is like I'm covering all angles of a story here. So first we give the news coverage, the serious news coverage, talk about the details of the affidavit, talk about potential motives and things like that, talk about the suspect, talk about the victims, and then we move on to the other component, which is I segued it when I said true crime and true crime aficionados and how they end up going too far. So this is basically news coverage, the way I'm seeing it, on the true crime aficionado side of the story.
Is this clip gonna make it to the video?
It might.
Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting.
But
your editors are awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
I
they're
love,
great.
By the way, how they do. I don't even know how they do it.
What?
It must be some kind of trickery. But how they take like the chat or something on screen and make it big.
Yeah.
They must cut it right out, and then I don't know how
Yeah.
they're sick.
They just they just
they don't have-
zoom in or blow up like the
That's good.
video portion.
Well, it looks legit.
Yeah.
Of that.
Yeah.
Being sued by Rebecca for all this shit, and rightfully so. She completely deserves to get slapped
People keep
around.
saying I need to speak into the mic. Listen, I have good mic etiquette. Okay, it's right in my fucking mouth.
Yeah, he's doing fine. I don't know why. I'm looking at the
But people
levels and
keep
it's like
saying
pretty
I'm too-
balanced.
Okay, you can see the levels.
Yeah, I can see the
People
levels,
Keep
like-
saying it's quiet, but
No, we're both like balanced basically.
Okay.
Around in court for this kind of garbage. And I just wanted to go over some of this with you because I truly was blown away by what I was hearing from her. It's a really interesting look into just pure delusion. Ashley really thinks she's like Mob from Mob Psycho, like some kind of crazy, powerful, psychic like hero. But in reality, she's just dangerously dumb. And then
Okay, let's get to
and
what
look
she
how
said.
far Raven got with those visions. I wouldn't be shitting on that.
Yeah,
someone else reacting.
Yeah.
Kinda
And,
way.
I mean,
and he's
there's
reacting
there's
to
too
someone
many-
else who's like, I know,
It's
not
too
all
many
of
fucking layers. Bro.
not all of these videos are going to be perfect, and I know. Usually, sometimes if it's commentary, I often will skip to the original content itself to figure out what they said.
Look how many fucking people are on screen. Like, look at. What
Okay,
they're
we're not
seeing.
doing it. All right, we're done. We're done with this.
It's
Here,
re-
let's
it's
just
come
we're
on.
watching.
All right, boys,
it
before we
around.
get into the pod,